I'm resident of Colin for YouTube. Joel Sage, joined by my buddy Daniel Culver. We're here to talk some Halloween. What we might see. What do we think we're gonna see? What the announcement's gonna be. That is. So Daniel, man, this whole Halloween 45 thing's coming up. What do you think's gonna be announced, man?
I hate to say this, but um, I think they'll probably if they'll probably announce another remake. I know I'm not a fan of remakes, you know how I am, but I
Yeah.
just feel like that's gonna be the announcement.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Here's the thing. I think if it's not a remake by some slim chance, because that is a huge possibility. Um, I honestly, to be clear, I don't think we'll ever get a sequel to Resurrection, in my opinion. Um, that being said, I think they'll go the other way. I think they'll now. I don't know if they'll split this in two, whether they'll do a remake for a movie and do a Halloween TV series, which I'd prefer a TV series, um, me personally. But if they go, I think they'll go the retcon route again, only this time I think they'll bring back Daniel Harris and they'll say that they'll go off Halloween 4. They're not going to go off Halloween 5. Um, because I think they also would want to bring back Rachel Carruthers. At least you would think they would, in my opinion. Here's what's weird, too. Either way, if they do a remake, or like a retcon, with a remake, bro, are we getting Michael's origin story again?
That's actually a good question. Maybe, and maybe this time they'll definitely.
What was that?
Oh, sorry. Maybe they'll do it a little differently. Like maybe this version will have like a new origin story.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't. Here's the thing: I would if they do a remake. Okay, if you're remaking John Carpenter's Immortal Classic, which they've already done, so they've already committed the original sin. Okay,
Yeah,
so if they're going to commit sin again, don't make Michael Myers like live with hillbillies. Here's how they could switch it up and keep it good. Have my When the parents come home, instead of Michael being outside, you see you see Michael's father. He's standing there after they show up. He smokes a cigarette outside the house. His mom goes in the house. She goes, Michael, Judith. She don't see him or hear him. She goes up the steps. She sees her dead daughter's body on the floor. She doesn't scream because she's in such shock of it. She can't. She gets down on her knees. Michael comes behind her and slits her throat. And as a little homage to Psycho, the dad finishes smoking the cigarette. He comes up the steps, and as he's coming up the steps, Michael comes around the corner and stabs him right in the chest. In this sense, Michael kills all his original family members. There's no Laurie Strode in the sense. There's no sister connection. Like, because if you're gonna make it different, why have there be a Laurie Strode? You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a good point.
Like, even that's the thing. Even if they do a retcon and they follow Daniel Harris, like if they follow her character, if they follow Jamie Lloyd, to me, you can't have. You got to make the con. You've already made the conscious decision. Well, Laurie Strode's been killed off, even though we didn't see it. Car accident, air quotes, which is crazy. But make Rachel Carruthers a doctor, make her the psychologist, sort of make her not Loomis, but she's the one person who's been defending Jamie. Like, no, she's not him. And you got to make the decision again. Okay, did she or didn't she kill her stepmother? I would say she didn't, because if you pull the trigger that she did, there's no getting that character back. You might as well make that character your heel.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't really want to see heel Jamie Lloyd at this point. Maybe I would have in 1988, but not now. Um, with this, whether no matter what they do, I really hope they do something that, number one, is going to make sense. A remake, see, to me, a remake would more make sense of what I'm saying. So I'll give you that. That because don't get me wrong, I like Danielle Harris's character, but here's the thing, and this is just being honest about it. Danielle Harris is not a star. Like, she is not somebody who they're going to do a movie around. I could see them doing a TV series. She's not the star Jamie Lee Curtis is. You
Yeah.
know, but
The idea
so
like, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I actually liked your idea to, go off of Halloween 4, but the problem is it might cause confusion.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, see, Danielle Harris, she wants to come back, and you've heard this, I'm sure. And it's like, okay, realistically, if you're looking at it from a story standpoint, well, if you go off 5, that means you got to go off the cult, right? They're not going to want to do that. They're not going to want to do that. I mean, I enjoyed that storyline, but that doesn't mean they're going to want to do it. Okay, so your logical step is to go off Halloween 4. And the reason, you might say, well, why has Michael been away all this time? The biggest difference you could do is in Halloween, in this version of Halloween, is no, Jamie Lloyd has been staring at the wall a lot like he did. She's been mute. She's been utterly silent. But for years, Rachel just keeps trying to reach her. Inside Jamie's body, what's going on is this evil entity, Michael's evil, if you will. It's just waiting. But it's not waiting for her. It's waiting for him to wake up. And when he wakes up, she collapses. Like, you know what I mean? And when she gets up, she starts talking, and Rachel's like, "What happened? Like, what?" And she goes, "He's alive. He's alive." What do you mean he's alive? Michael's alive. I think you could do that, but again, too, you got to be smart about it. You can't be doing. I love 5, but, and you know this, I'm a huge Dark Shadows fan. I get what they were trying to say in 5. I do. I like 5. But I think a lot of people miss the boat from a story standpoint, because they're getting into possession, um, which can be confusing.
Yeah, I agree. I, I could see people getting confused by that.
Like, if you're gonna say somebody's possessed, okay, what's their possession? Like, for example, when the ghost of Josette is speaking through Victoria Winters at the seance, that's the ghost possessing Victoria, right?
Yeah.
To speak through her. Okay. Michael's not going to talk. Michael's evil is not going to talk. Hell, it hasn't talked through him ever, you know. Now, I doubt very much it's going to talk through Jamie Lloyd. So when Michael wakes up and the evil goes back into him, when she tries to tell people he's coming, he's going to come here, he's going to kill us all, and no one's listening but Rachel. I think that would be an interesting plot, but if they actually execute it right, it could work, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That does sound like an interesting concept though. But
Uh,
I could see like like I said, like you go off Halloween Force, like non-Halloween fans will be like confused.
yeah, I think that's the thing too. You want to avoid, you sort of want to avoid what happened. Like H2O was confusing for some people because I told you this before. When I was in high school, I was in high school when H2O came out, and people were like, "Is it underwater?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Well, what's the
Yeah.
what's the H2O stand for?" I'm sure you've heard the same thing. Like, and I'm like, "Well, it's 20 years after the original murders. What original murders?" Like half the people in my classroom had not seen John Carpenter's Halloween, and it's like, oh shit. Uh, so if they go remake again, let me ask you this: would you have them recast? Obviously, that means Dr. Sam Loomis. So who would you like to see as Dr. Sam Loomis?
That's actually a good question. Why not, um, why not Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, I could see that. You know who'd be good?
Oh,
Patrick
who?
Patrick Stewart's real good. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but I have. He played Quark on DS9. Armin Sherman. I'll send you an interview with he's done interviews. So I'll send you where he did interviews. But he's the right height for the character because he's not tall. I don't think he's British though. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, that could be a problem. But if he could do an accent, it might work though.
Yeah, he. It's funny because he. I'm so used to seeing him with like makeup on for playing Quark because Quark's a Ferengi and Quark's all about money. Like he's got these rules. He calls them the rules of acquisition. It's funny as shit. Uh, but now, if they go like an American Loomis, like if they say, well, Loomis isn't British, he's American, I'll give another DS9 nod for this one. And I'll go Avery Brooks.
Oh,
But I see Malcolm McDowell's Loomis wasn't all bad. That's the thing. What do you think, Dan?
um, I'd say it wasn't. It's kind of weird. I don't think he did a bad job playing the role, but like it was how Rob Zombie wrote the character was not very good. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird what happens. Like I've talked about this with you before that from like the theatrical version of one to the uncut version of two, there's a big drop off of that character. And I think the reason this is because they went by the unrated version of Loomis in the from the first unrated movie. And it's like even though they did, he didn't seem like here's my biggest issue with them doing this. Number one, if the character was so money hungry, right? Because that's what they're trying to say in two. He's money hungry. He's all about the money and shit, right? Here's my issue with that. And watching both versions of the unrated Loomis and the non-unrated Loomis of Robs, it's like, okay, if he was all about the money, and yeah, he wrote a book in the first one too. If he's all about the money, because that's the thing, in Rob's Halloween, for those who don't know, Malcolm McDowell, Sam Loomis retired before Michael escaped. Like he retires, and which is not something you would see Donald Pleasance's character really do until 6. Um, so he retires, and Michael escapes. Okay, here's a guy who Michael's not his patient anymore. So he goes to Haddonfield, even if it's out of some sense of obligation to Michael. Like, okay, I need to stop this guy. It's not just because of Michael, though. Loomis knows that Michael's sister is out there in Rob's first one. So he's coming to stop Michael from hurting anybody, let alone his own sister. Okay, that doesn't sound like a guy who's in it for the money. you know,
Yeah, sure.
you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like here's this guy who's making the right decision to do something, even though he knows he doesn't have to. And I just feel like whatever, I don't know exactly what got done, whose decision it was to write the character that way, whether it was Rob's or whatever. I just find it very weird that they changed the character that much from one movie to the next.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. And yeah, for we may have talked about this before, but yeah, for those that don't know, like they pretty much buried the theatrical cuts. Like if you like the DVDs and the Blu-rays always have the unrated for the first one and the director's cut for the second one. And I really hope if they release these in 4K that they finally give us the actual theatrical cut.
Yeah, see, I'm lucky. I went in theaters and saw this.
It's just
uh,
weird. Like, you think that they would have both. I know someone's gonna say, yeah, there is release of theatrical cuts. Yes, there are, but that's actually a Canadian release.
Here's the thing, though, too. Like, the theatrical cut, again, I won't say it was never released. I want to be clear. I never saw it until after they had released the unrated version, because my brother had brought the unrated version. Now, Halloween was not the first movie to come out as an unrated, like on DVD. I forget what movie was, but I know it wasn't Halloween. It was something else. Now, the one unrated movie that came out before it had the unrated version, but it also had the theatrical version. Okay. So my brother brings up the unrated version of Rob Zombie's Halloween. He goes, "Hey, we didn't see the unrated version." I said, "How much more content do you think we're honestly going to see?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Okay," and I'm opening it. Okay, there's two discs. One disc is the unrated version. The other disc is special features. And I'm like, "Hey, don't you think you're missing something here?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Where's the theatrical release?" I said, "Don't you think the theatrical release should be on here too?" I said, it would only make sense. It's not like the movie's that long. And he's like, "I don't know." And we looked for it on that disc and it wasn't on there. So I don't know whose decision it was to not release the theatrical release right away or release it later. Um, that sounds like a Dimension thing. I don't know. I again, we're talking about a company run by the Weinsteins, and well, we all know they have shady dealings.
That's true. And actually, it's interesting because something they did recently is actually relevant to that. As you know, there's the 4K, and then they have five separate, and then 6, 7, and 8. Well, H2O and Well, you know what I mean, Curse, and H2O Resurrection. If you want to get technical, they're in one set. But here's the thing: they wouldn't let Scream Factory release them separately. They actually had to release them in a box set. Dimension Film wouldn't let them do separate releases.
Oh wow.
The good thing is though they aren't separate boxes, so you can display them separately if you want to.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Good old dimension.
Yeah, like talking about how there's no theatrical cut, and that's what's also weird is remember there was that complete box set, and yeah, the theatrical cut of the zombies movies weren't in that either.
No, they're not. That's the thing. Like in the one I have, the 35th anniversary collection. I have Rob Zombie's Halloween's. Again, they're the unrated version. So if I watch it, I'm watching the unrated version. And it's like with the first movie, it's like okay, there's not. That's what I mean. Like, okay, Loomis. I don't feel Loomis is a jerk really in the first one, even in the unrated version. Like in the first movie. In the second movie, yeah, he's a dick. Um, but like, so like if they remake this again, if they remake, Halloween all over again, um, yeah, please don't make Dr. Loomis a dick.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Who would you get to play Michael Myers?
Oh, that's actually a question. I know this might sound weird to some people, but I would get John Moxley.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
Dean Ambrose, for those that don't know.
yeah, he wrestles for AEW. Shit. I keep misplacing this guy's name every time he comes up in my mind too, and I know who he is. Hayden Christensen. If you've ever seen the Star Wars prequels, watch Revenge of the Sith and watch how he walks as Anakin Skywalker. It reminds me of freaking Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that might work.
like, like you can't have him take the mask off though, because he's got like a real as a guy, like he's got a nice looking face, and it's yeah, you can't let him take the mask off.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll tell you though too, so I don't think they'll get James Jude Courtney did do a good job. I mean, that's the thing. Um, but I know like with a lot of these Halloweens nowadays, they're not going to pick the same actor to play Michael again.
Yeah.
Um, Here's one for you. I know he's tall. Do you think there's any chance we'd see Kane Hodder play Michael?
Um, I would say there is. I don't know though. Michael Myers is not really known for being tall, but Rob Zombie already kind of broke that rule.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He shattered that rule, my friend. Oh my god. So let's say let's say they don't do the sister connection and they just go completely random kills for Michael Myers in this remake. Do you have a Sheriff Brackett in this movie?
Um, that's a good question. Who would be good for that? Who would you get actually?
Um, See, here's what's weird. I know, like we all like Dr. Loomis, and I do too. But why not just do it from the cop standpoint?
I never thought about that.
Like, or like if you don't want to do a sheriff, why not do it from a detective standpoint? Make it a detective story. Like they don't. Let's say they never solved who. Make it to where the reason Michael gets caught is because when they arrest Judith's boyfriend, the detectives figure out that they get when they get the evidence, they realize, hey, it wasn't the boyfriend, it was the little kid, and they're in disbelief. And the one detective had suspected it was Michael, like he was the one. Instead of having a Loomis, have a detective who was suspicious of the kid to begin with. Like, no, I don't think it was the boyfriend at all. I think it was the little boy. And like people were looking at this detective like he's crazy. Like, there's no way a little boy would kill his sister. And then they find out, yeah, he did. And then years later, this same detective is getting a partner, and this partner's coming from Chicago. So there's these two detectives now, and he goes, "So you come from Chicago, a place where there's tons of crime, to Haddonfield, where there's hardly any crime." He goes, "I want you to what? This is the most boring town in all of America, except for one time in 1963." And he's explained to the young detective what happened. He goes, "And where's the kid now?" He goes, "He's sitting in a sanitarium in Warren County, Smiths Grove, just outside the city, So, and instead of there just being a Loomis where he's ordered to be transferred, just have Michael escape. Just have Michael brutally escape the sanitarium." And they don't know, like, the sanitarium doesn't report it. They don't know who all escaped, who all got out. So they're not sure. They don't want to panic the public, so they don't release it. And now there's murders happening again that are similar to the murder that happened with Judith. And they're trying to figure out who did it. They just assume, well, it can't be Michael because why? He's locked up. And they just don't check until later, and then they find out he escaped. I think that's something you could do if you're going to really remake it. You know, now if you're going to do the whole, Dr. Loomis, Sheriff Brackett. For Sheriff Brackett, me personally, I know here's the thing. He's played cops before, the guy I'm going to mention. So it might be, he might not want to do because of playing cops before. Because I could see somebody not wanting to play a role that not that they've played that type of cop, but he's played other cops before. He's played, the actor I'm thinking about, he's played a cop, like a comedic cop, and he's played a very serious cop. But I would get Michael Chiklis to play Sheriff Brackett.
Oh, okay.
You ever see him in the Commish?
I haven't seen it actually.
It's pretty funny. Now he was Vic Mackey in The Shield. That's his more serious role. But the Commish is more of a comedy. It's more fun than anything else. So he sort of played both, like serious and non-serious. So he could definitely do the role. Um, Loomis would. Oh God, I don't even know what. I know. I said Avery Brooks, and Avery's a great actor, but I know a lot of people are going to want a British actor, and I'm with you. Patrick Stewart makes a lot of sense. Uh, who would you get to play Brackett?
Um, it's actually a good question. I'm not sure. You know, I don't remember his name, but maybe the guy who played the sheriff in Bates Motel.
Oh, okay. Uh, let's see. There's other people who could play him. I mean, again, it all depends on what exactly they're wanting to do for, like, if they do a remake. Like, are they really just wanting a remake for remake's sake? And what I mean by that is, like, oh, let's just bring back Sheriff Brackett, have someone else play him. Let's bring back Dr. Loomis, have him play him. Or do you want to tell a completely different story and have all new characters? I'd rather, if they're going to remake it to where, okay, let's not have a Sam Loomis. Because, I mean, I love Dr. Loomis. We've seen that character. I love those characters to death. I love Sheriff Brackett, Dr. Loomis. We've seen those characters. If you're going to remake it with new characters. That way you can tell a different story. And again, you're not You're not telling the same exact story John told, but you're telling your own sort of horror story in a way, your own slasher.
Well, that's a good idea.
What do you think, Daniel? You think we'll ever get a sequel to Resurrection?
Probably not, to be honest. You know how that goes.
Thank you for letting me down gently, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we'll ever get a sequel to Resurrection either. Shit. Oh my god. So that's the thing too. I'm sort of wondering. Do you ever think we'll get another anthology route?
Um, Honestly, probably not because of how Halloween 3 went.
Yeah. I got the perfect guy to play a young Connell Cochran if they did it right. Get because he can do an Irish accent. He's really good at it too. Get Jeffrey Donovan to play Connell Cochran.
But yeah, if you could do, if you could do an accent, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, he can. I've heard him do it too. It's crazy. Um, he can play a heel too because he's played heels. For those who don't know who that is, he was on Burn Notice. He was also in Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Oh my god! But that would be interesting if they did that route though too. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they decide. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they going to do a remake? Are they going to go off Halloween 4? Are we going to get how shocked would you be if they did a television series and they were going to go off Resurrection? How shocked would you be?
I'd be very shocked, but I'd be happy too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd be shocked, but I'd be happy because like if you can do a television series no matter what on Halloween and you can build a ton of characters and not just make it about slashing and stuff, but build it toward that, I think it'd be a hell of a series.
Yeah, I agree. Oh
I
yeah,
want to. Sorry, go ahead.
she thought of another one for bracket. I know this is kind of out of nowhere, but what if I know he doesn't really look like him, which the guy I chose didn't neither, but what if Brendan Fraser played Lee Brackett?
That would be interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
he's played characters that are like pretty like weird and interesting, so I could see him doing it.
and
I
I
got
don't think it'd be hard. It's not too physically demanding either.
I got one for you. I got a casting decision for you now. I don't know I can't pronounce his last name's real name, but I know he did a really good job playing Sweet Tooth in the Twisted Metal series. Why not Samoa Joe?
Oh, that might work.
Have him just have it be off Sheriff Brackett's story. Don't tell Dr. Loomis's story, and have him be a real hard ass sheriff.
Yeah, that work.
Oh shit!
Isn't
Uh,
Sweet Tooth? I know I know Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, but isn't the voice someone else though?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Samoa Joe does the body move, like is the body. Will Arnett is the voice actor who's doing the voice.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Will Arnett, he's done a lot of voiceover work. He did Batman. He was in The Secret World of Arietti. He's been in a ton of shit from a voice acting standpoint.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For anyone wondering why we haven't mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis come back, she actually signed a contract that said she's not doing any more Halloween movies.
Unless the price is right. No.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not really sure how that would work though. Like, it's kind of weird she even signed that.
Well, I have a crazy theory for you, and you can even go watch Resurrection. And let me know what you think about this later on. But you never notice in Halloween Resurrection, like okay, they say Laurie get. We see Michael put the knife in Laurie's back and she falls. But I mean, we've seen Michael survive some crazy shit, right?
That's true.
So Resurrection takes place in two times. There's a year prior and then there's a year after. The year after it takes place in Haddonfield. Okay. And if you notice, there's not one goddamn mention of Laurie Strode's death in the sanitarium. Here's this woman who survived her brother twice and three times now. Okay. And she was the world's greatest babysitter. There should be a fucking statue of this woman in this town. Well, maybe not a statue, but this woman supposedly died in a sanitarium by her brother Santa, and there's not one mention of it in the town she grew up in. I find that highly suspicious.
Yeah, you actually got a good point there. And that's actually the thing. Like, they could have easily said, she didn't actually die.
Yeah, like the only thing that gets mentioned, and it's not in the Senate. It's not about the sanitarium. It's about her car accident where she faked her death. It's the newspaper article down in the house, in the Myers house, but they don't mention the sanitarium at all.
Yeah, that is weird. You're right.
It's like somebody asked me, they're like, "What? What's the weirdest thing about Resurrection?" I said, "Well, let me tell you this. It's not Busta Rhymes." I said, "The weirdest thing about Resurrection is the fact that they don't mention Laurie's death at all." Like, I still go back to watch. That's why I go back. Like, I like Resurrection, and that's another reason to go back and watch it. To like, because I keep going back. Like, maybe I missed something. I'm like, no, I didn't miss shit.
Yeah. People always, people think like the whole thing about, how like in H show, she cut off his head and that turned out to be pairing back into Resurrection. People think that, Resurrection retconned it, but Jamie Lee Curtis herself has confirmed that it was never supposed to be Michael Myers.
Yeah. See, that's funny. I said that when I went to go watch H show at the drive-in when it came out. When he put his hands up, because we all know they were going off the first two movies. They weren't going off of 4, 5, and 6. And when he put his hands up for that car, I'm like, that's not him. And my mom's like, how do you know? I was like, Mom, go watch the first two movies. That's not him. That's not Michael. And I didn't know what they were going to say for Resurrection, but I was shocked. Like, oh my God, Michael is a cold man.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure the story behind that, but basically, like, Jamie Lee Curtis did want to kill the character off, but there was a contract that said that, you couldn't kill him off.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. Is it her job to know that? Not really.
That's a good point.
like, like somebody asked me, like, are you shocked that she didn't know? I'm like, no. Here's the thing. Jamie Lee Curtis has been in how many films? I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis was keeping track of what kind of contracts were in the Halloween franchise.
That's true.
What shit? Here's a funny. I got a funny one for you. It involves House of, like, when you watch House of Dark Shadows. I'll give you a little spoiler. When you go watch House of Dark Shadows, which is the first Dark Shadows movie, Dan Curtis wanted to do a sequel. Like, he wanted to do Barnabas again. He wanted to sequel it with Jonathan Fred. And Jonathan, it's not that Jonathan said no, but Jonathan deliberately set the price tag well over to what they could afford. And, oh, we can't pay you that. Well, then I can't do it.
Oh,
I've always found that funny. I'm like, wow, you can tell Jonathan did not really want to do a sequel to House of Dark Shadows. It's a good movie, but
You said you said I think you mentioned this before, but you said the Dark Shadows movies aren't canon, right?
no, none of them are canon to the series.
As weird as it sounds, I'm kind of used to that concept because that for those that don't know, the old Dragon Ball and the old Dragon Ball Z movies aren't canon either.
Yeah. Here's the thing now, I'll give you this. They somewhat use the Maggie Evans Josette storyline from the series.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, they do take things from the series because a lot of the cast from the series is in the movie. It's why, like, when you watch 1970 Parallel Time, you'll notice half the cast is missing. It's because they're off in New York, Tarrytown, New York, filming the movie.
Oh yeah, that's pretty interesting.
As my buddy Patrick McRae says, they were babysitting the audience. David Selby, Laura Parker, and then they were babysitting the audience. That's funny.
I think it'd be possible for like for them to reference Dark Shadows in a Halloween movie.
I mean, here's the thing: you could,
Yeah, that would be cool.
you could reference it as the show. Like, oh hey, what are you watching? Dark Shadows.
Yeah, I could see that like that direction. Unless they go the anthology series, then it might work because it'd be kind of weird if Dark Shadows was in the same universe as Halloween. Because let's be honest, they'd be like Michael Myers would be like, "What are you talking about? There's a vampire."
See, like if Barnabas like moved to Haddonfield, he'd get annoyed fast with these trick or treaters. Like, Willie, who's knocking at the door? Oh, Barnabas, there's some trick or treaters. Send them away.
Yeah,
Oh shit. I like how John Carlin's Willie Lewis. He's like, Barnabas, there was this little girl playing outside. There was no little girl playing outside. Barnabas was like, little girl, like you mean David? No, there was a little girl. Oh shit. Uh, uh, yeah, we'll have. I got to bring you back on. We'll have to talk some Dark Shadow.
yeah,
What do you, because I got to get your thoughts on the Adam mark for sure.
yeah, yeah. That arc is pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see what's today. What are you doing Monday morning, my friend?
Oh, I probably won't be doing anything to be honest.
All right. How's 10:30 Monday?
Oh, that's fine.
So 10:30 Monday morning, me and Dana are going to do the Adam arc for Dark Shadows. Is going to be a fun discussion. Is there anything you want to add about Halloween before we get on out of here?
Oh, nothing I can think of.
And remember, if you shoot Michael Myers 6 times, don't make sure your gun doesn't accidentally go off a 7th time. That's a Halloween 2 reference. Sorry. uh, it's funny now, like when you go back and watch the older movies, like all the goof ups you catch.
Oh yeah. Oh, do you have 4Ks of Halloween?
No, I only have the 35th anniversary. I'm probably going to get the 4K later this year.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, if you don't have 4K yet, oh yeah, that's yeah. If you don't have 4K yet, just it does come with the regular Blu-ray as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but most of them do. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's actually weird because most the special features are on the regular Blu-rays. It's kind of weird. Like how like they found that new intro that's in of Halloween 5. Yeah, that's on the regular Blu-ray. It's not on the 4K for some reason.
Oh, wow. See, like the one 4K I bought, I'm trying to think what it was that I bought. There's the 4K disc, there's the Blu-ray disc, and there's 2 special feature discs. I forget what movie it is. I'm trying to think. Oh god, I think it's Apocalypse Now that I have that has 4 discs.
Okay, yeah, it usually does come. Usually, they do come with the normal Blu-ray as well.
It's
Yeah,
like
good.
it's just like, man, how many? Somebody must have been working overtime on this movie.
Oh yeah. Now one, one thing that's um kind of cool about the the Halloween 6
Yeah,
4K. Well, I know it comes with a set on, so unfortunately you have to buy it that way. But one cool thing is it actually comes with 4 discs, but not not like with special feature or anything. I kid you not. It actually has the 4K for the theatrical cut, the Blu-ray for the theatrical cut, and then the 4K for the producer's cut, and the regular Blu-ray for the producer's cut. So you actually get both movies in both formats.
see, they should have did that with Rob's.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's what they should have did. That's cool. That's definitely cool.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. There's something weird about the Halloween 2 release. Like, just to let you know, the Halloween 1 4K also, one of the special features is the extended cut or the TV cut. But this is what's weird about the Halloween 2 one. Like, the Halloween 2, as you know, comes with 4K and the regular Blu-ray. But here's what gets weird: it comes with the TV cut.
uh,
For some weird reason, it's on the DVD.
oh wow.
Like, really weird. It's like, why?
Here's the thing. The cut for the Halloween 2, the TV cut of it, like where Jimmy sits up in the back of the ambulance. I
Yeah,
gotta tell you, out of all the horror like TV cuts, that's the one I did not like because the way they do it, if you pay attention, Jimmy should be dead.
that's true. And that's what's kind of annoying because it started an annoying myth that he didn't die. It's like, no, he did die. He just it's kind of in the TV cut he didn't die, but that's technically not canon.
Yeah, it's like no, Jimmy's dead.
Yeah, and that's what's weird. Like some people even think like Jimmy is Jamie's dad.
Just Daniel, when people say that, just tell them, yeah, and I'm Goku's father.
It's that-
like, like, hey, if he can have the credit for being Jamie's dad, I could have the credit for being Goku's dad.
well, that's true. It's really weird though. About the like I said, like the for some reason the Halloween 2 TV cuts on a DVD. That's what's weird though is if you remember there was that 15th disc box set that came alongside of that. There was when that was when they first released the producer's cut. It
Yeah,
came on that set too. So I don't know why. It's like why is they only release the TV cut on a DVD?
like I get why they released the TV cut for the first Halloween, but you can do without the TV cut for Halloween too. It's not good. It's
There's actually even like some contradictions. Well, not contradictions, but like how he said I've been trick or treated to death tonight. I think that was changed to him saying like what's going on, and then Loomis just walks away.
yeah, it's like yeah, the Halloween 2 TV cut is not good. It's not a good cut. And really, I just think that was the television like censors at the time being nitpicky.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Like
What? Oh, good.
like for me, this is why I won't like. I'm always wary of watching Halloween 2 on TV anymore because you don't know if you're going to get the television cut, and sometimes they'll choose the television cut. So I just watch Halloween 2 on DVD.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I just kind of assumed they just started censoring it on, censor on the cuss word to just play the theatrical cut now.
Well, like I'm not going to say they do it all the time because sometimes it depends on when it's shown. Like most of the time when they show Halloween 2 on TV, you do get the cut everybody has, the theatrical cut. But every now and again when they're showing Halloween 2 at like 2 o'clock in the morning, they'll show the television cut. And it's
Oh,
like like I'm not saying they'll do that this year. I hope to God they don't. Like just stop showing the Halloween 2 television cut. No one cares about it. Like, but I'd rather them show like the regular theatrical cut of Halloween 2. I don't mind the television cut of Halloween 1 because what Halloween 1 did for its television cut, it made the movie make more sense. And it still kept it scary.
Yeah, that's true.
So all right, my friend, I have no more questions and nothing more to add. How about you, sir? You got anything more to add before we go?
Oh yeah. Actually, what's interesting is sometimes if you watch, well, probably always actually, because it's how TV is. But yeah, if you watch Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, they actually do play the producers. I mean, not. Sorry, I almost said the producer cut, the theatrical cut, or at
Yeah,
least.
that's the thing. Like, you'll see, you can get the theatrical cut on DVD. Like, you can go and buy the theatrical cut, but good luck still today, like finding it. It could be found. Just proceed with caution.
Was it ever officially released, or do you not know?
It was released. That's the thing. Like officially, it was released because I was at Walmart just dumbing around in the like when I go to Walmart, I dumb around two places. Number one, the electronics. Number two, toys because I've got kids. So
Yeah,
I was dumbing around with the electronics and it was sitting right there at the $5 bin. It was the Halloween theatrical cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween, and it was for $5. And I'm like, oh, so there's a theatrical cut now.
yeah,
So it did get released. It just, I think by the time it got released, again, by the time it got released, so many people had bought the unrated cut, they probably just said, well, what's the point of owning the theatrical cut?
that's true.
And
Well, okay.
I think, I do think Dimension was behind that bullshit, like not releasing the theatrical cut because I'll say this, it's not the fact that they released the theatrical cut later that pisses me off. What pisses me off is you could have put, even if it took a third disc, you could have put the theatrical cut with the unrated cut.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
it was stupid not to do that. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, that. Yeah, they could have easily done that. You're right. I know there is actually a set with the two Rob Zombie movies, and they're both theatrical, but I could be wrong. I think I mentioned earlier in this video, but I think it's a Canadian release.
Oh, Canada. Well, here's the thing. Like, is even if you would have to buy the Canadian release, see, I'd buy it just to have it. Like, because God only knows what they're gonna do. When they release Rob's movies on 4K, like if they're like, it would be nice if they'd have the theatrical cut,
Oh, that's true.
but time will only tell. So
They would release it though, so we can have all of the Halloween movies on 4K.
yeah, I mean that would be nice. That's the thing. Like if they actually do that, I'd buy it. I mean, because hey, I don't want number one, I don't own Rob's theatrical version. I own the unrated version, but I don't own the theatrical version. So
Oh, yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, honestly, that probably is something Dimension Film should have done instead of. Well, as you know, like I told you, they had to release 6, 7, and 8 in one set. Honestly, they probably should have just included the Rob Zombie movies in that set too.
yeah, I get the feeling that when Dimension released the unrated version, I think they did that to sabotage Rob. I do. Like
But
I think that's where the sabotage began before the second film.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that. What's actually interesting about the director's, I mean, the theatrical cut, for those that don't know, like how Michael escapes is a lot better. Like he actually breaks, hit the chains off. He
Yeah,
actually kills.
yeah. He it is. Yeah, he breaks the chains off, and I like how when he gets out, he goes and kills that guy in the bathroom. That was vicious.
Yeah, yeah. For those who haven't seen the Rob Zombie movies, or maybe you're fortunate to have only seen the theatrical cut. Yeah, and the unrated cut, it involves like one of the janitors or whatever raping a woman.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. It was weird.
That's good old it's good old you know, the Weinstein.
That's true.
uh, it's sad that how far Dimension has fallen from the horror grace. It's like you used to be a good studio, but no, not so much.
True. And I hate to say this, but and I think I may have mentioned this in that comment I left on your video, but I kind of feel Blumhouse is losing their touch too.
Uh, well, when's that Friday the 13th thing come out? They're supposed to be doing.
You know, that's weird. I'm not sure. Like, didn't they say? Wait, when did they say it? Didn't they say fall of 2023? Maybe I'm wrong. My first one was this year.
I don't know. We'll have to get off here and check, but it was supposed to come out sometime.
Yeah, sure. I kind of hope it didn't get canceled. Well, it might have gotten delayed, but hope. Oh wait, it might have something to do with that writer's strike. I don't know.
Yeah, it might. So we will see. Time will tell. All right, man. That's all I got. So I'll see you Monday at 10:30 for the Adam Arc. Monday morning. Daniel, man, it has been a pleasure, sir.
I think I agree. It's been a pleasure as well.
Link to Daniel Culver's channel will be in the description box. You have a good day, my friend.
Yep, you too.